the Titans, the division is ours. I don't care what Houston did yesterday. They're going to go get their Letterman jackets again. The Indianapolis Colts are 2-6 against the Titans since Pat McAfee came up here and did his wrestling announcement. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, they haven't had back-to-back winning seasons since I was a senior in high school.
Everybody's catching.
I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. It's Kush. I love me too much and your brain turn to mush. Fall flat on your tush. You couldn't handle the product I push. I guess I'm just used to it, I just do it. Like Nike swoosh, none of that Reggie Bush. Cause I'm top shelf, I ain't got wealth. But I'm on my grind like park rails. I'd sell the shoes right off my 2 feet, then add one, that's a yard sale. Got dumb bars that be smarter than Harvard, Yale. Take your pictures elsewhere, you wanna be TMZ, I wanna be VIP. Quit pandering, I'm not answering cause I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. All of that bark and no bite, that's alright. Not everyone can be the big dog. Take a walk, kick rocks. Can't keep me out cause I pick locks. They hearing me knocking, I'll never be stopping. I keep this shit popping like lip gloss. Get me pissed off and the whole squad point the red dots. Something like chicken pox, give me all what you got like it raw, shimmy y'all. Feeling like Tony Hawk, never stop, let it rock, better not get involved. Running a marathon and you a tourist. This my world, you a tourist. Fuck with the bullet, you get in the horns, I'm a tourist. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Titans Fan Battle podcast, brought to you as always by Fan Battle Sports Network. And always remember to help us out with the algorithm, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And join us over on fanbattlesports.com for all the latest blog posts, opinions on your favorite teams. All 4 AFC South teams are represented. But I'm here today, as always, with co-host Tyler. You want to say hey to everyone?
Hello, everyone. It's been a somber week for us Titans fans.
Yeah, it started out good. I thought we was going to have a lot to gloat about on today's show. So.
But I did foresee what happened, and I just want it to be known that I called it, and my co-host did not.
Yeah, it's true. It's not a move I was wanting made, that's for sure. But we'll get into the good news and then we'll get into all of that. The good news is the Jags are out of the playoffs. And
that is nice.
So,
that is nice.
Running down a little bit of the game, Derrick Henry had a vintage performance for himself, 153 yards and a touchdown against the Jaguars. And the offensive line, the best day by far that they've had all season. Olive Henry's 153 yards, 107 was before contact. So they was opening up huge holes to get him downfield. Then, of course, the offensive line allowed 1 sack, so they waited till the end of the year to actually pass block and run block for us.
I mean, I guess it's better late than never, right?
Yeah, it's true. They also had 2 false starts in the game, which got them to 30 on the season. And out of the last decade, they're the 5th team. So 320 possible teams, they're the 5th one to ever have 30 false starts in a season. So I was telling them on Monday night, I can't wait for the offseason to officially begin so that we can say goodbye to about 5 of these guys and never have to think of them again.
I mean, the first move we need to make is to cut Dillard.
Yep. Gotta be.
He's not worth the money that we signed him to.
Nah. If I ain't mistaken, he leads all left tackles in sacks allowed and our left tackle position as a whole. If you combine all of the left tackles we fielded, they lead the league in sacks allowed. So,
and you're not going to have a good team or be able to score as many points when you have an offensive line that plays like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think 64 sacks on the year, or 65 with that last one, maybe. That's just ridiculous. I think third most sacks allowed in the NFL.
So what do you think? So what do you think the Titans do in the offseason? Do we fix the secondary, add a good wide receiver, draft an offensive lineman? What are your predictions?
I think that we have to add a legit number one wide receiver. And if we go into next year, with a T. Higgins or Mike Evans or someone lined up across from Hopkins with Burks as the number 3 option, I'm comfortable with that. And okay. Burks is on a fully guaranteed rookie contract. So I don't think we're going to cut him because it don't save us any money.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he will end up being the number 3 next year.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
Also in free agency, there's not any quality left tackles and not even any really quality right tackles, but there are some quality centers in free agency. And so if we sign a decent center and then draft one of these top 2 left tackles, I feel pretty comfortable with the offensive line with Skronsky, Brunskill, and an actual legit center because Brewer's just too small. He's getting pushed around.
Oh yeah, he's very small. He's a very small center. I didn't like him as a offensive lineman for us last year.
Yeah, I think he has some value as like the swing tackle. Like if we want a 6-man lining up in that tight end position or something like that. But yeah, him out there in the center of the line, he's just out of his depth.
Yeah.
What about you? You have any predictions off season wants or needs?
I think it's undeniable that we have to go out and get a wide receiver. We need someone to take the pressure and the double teams off of DeAndre. DeAndre is getting older, so inherently he's going to slow down. He's not going to be as fast. I don't know when that time is going to come, but it's going to happen eventually. So with that being said, I don't foresee us getting Mike Evans. Mike Evans is kind of I think he's 30, 31. Yeah. Personally, Mike Evans is good, but he has a really good young wide receiver to complement him on the outside in Chris Godwin. So I would personally be against getting Mike Evans. T. Higgins would be nice. And I say this only to really dig in at Colts fans. Michael Pittman would also be nice since last report I read says that he doesn't want to go back to Indianapolis.
Yeah, and we thought we was getting Taylor out of the division for that same reason last year, and he ended up back. I think T. Higgins is everyone's number 1 choice at wide receiver, like who they all want. But I don't know if you've seen what Joe Burrow said this week.
I did not.
They asked him about T. Higgins, and he basically said that his contract was worked out in a way that they didn't have to lose the weapons around him. And so the way that his contract is worked, that he expects to retain those weapons. So it may be trouble in paradise as far as the Bengals and Joe Burrow if they let him walk out of the building.
I don't see that being true. They're going to lose one of those wide receivers. There's no way that you're going to have Joe Burrow making $50 million a year pay the offensive linemen to protect that quarterback, keep money saved up, because we all know that Jamar Chase is going to break the bank for them, as well as keep some premier players on defense. I don't foresee that happening.
Yeah, because everybody was thinking the same thing, that the Chiefs were going to magically make it all work, and Tyreek Hill's going to the playoffs in Miami right now. So he's actually coming back to play the Chiefs. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be okay with getting a good center and maybe focusing a little bit more on the secondary in free agency and trying to focus on offensive linemen and wide receivers in this year's draft. Just because this is a very deep offensive lineman draft. And last thing I read said it was also a pretty deep wide receiver draft as well. Yeah. I mean, and we've seen what rookie wide receivers can do with the Texans. So, but there's things that have to be immediately fixed, especially since hopefully we let Christian Fulton walk.
Yeah, I don't see any way that we can keep him on the roster. But
we also need another safety.
Yeah, we need at least one safety and at least one corner.
Yeah.
Whether it comes in the draft or free agency, like we can't go and be bottom of the league again for the third straight year in pass defense.
Should SMB come back?
I think he done enough to come back and keep a role on the team. Like he had his good games and bad games, but overall averaged across the season, he wasn't out there hurting the defense the way Fulton was.
Okay.
Because McCreary, he's an outstanding corner, but he's a inside corner. He can't work the sidelines, and he got exposed all throughout December once we put Fulton on IR and forced him into a starting role.
Mm-hmm.
But inside, he's one of the top in the league covering the slot. So
okay.
But before we can think about the draft or free agency, we got a little bit of news happening with Vrabel out as head coach. As you said, you foresaw it coming. So what are your thoughts? Good decision, bad decision?
In my opinion, I think it's definitely been on the horizon after the fact that we lost to the Bengals when having the number 1 seed, and we kept going for it on 4th down instead of kicking field goals in that game. It definitely doesn't help that we had Ryan Tannehill throw multiple picks, but that was definitely, I mean, the defense carried us that game. And so one thing I will say is Mike Vrabel being a defensive coach, obviously things could have been better, but for the most part, when you have the number 1 red zone defense in the league, traditionally you would think that you're going to do well, like that you may be fighting for a playoff spot. But here we are, first week of playoffs, and our team is eliminated. So with that, I definitely think it was needed. I think that we need a new rebranding as a team, as a franchise. I think that Amy Adams Strunk, our owner, is setting a very clear message that being mediocre is not something that she will accept. Mike Vrabel is a phenomenal head coach. He's won head coach of the year. He's had a very difficult time in Tennessee these past couple of years with the massive amounts of injuries. I wish him nothing but the best. But the reason why I had a feeling that he was going to get fired this season was because I do truly think that he does not like or does not want Will Levis on that team. The reason that I say that is because in the press conference where he basically announced that Will Levis was going to take over as the starter, it didn't really seem like the same Mike Vrabel. He seemed very defeated. And maybe I'm reading too much into it. But when Mike Tomlin and Pittsburgh is had the quarterback troubles that he's had, he doesn't sound the same way that Mike Vrabel did. When Mike Vrabel announced that Will Levis was going to be the starter. So I do believe that there may have been some internal conflict between him and Ryan regarding the future of the team, because I think if it was up to Vrabel, I think that Ryan Tannehill would still be the starter for this team after this season.
Yeah, I think he did look depressed and stuff on the sidelines and the press conferences. Like, you could tell he wasn't the same guy from 2020, 2021. And I think part of that is because he was losing the locker room and he didn't know how to handle it, how to stop it.
Yeah.
And I say that because we had multiple guys that would get cut and then instantly tweet out, "Thank God," or "Glad to be out." And we thought, like, as fans, everybody was saying, "Oh, he was a locker room cancer." T.R. Tart was one of them that, we had to get him out of there because he wasn't buying in. He was messing everything up. But then it's coming out now that the locker room was more divided, like a 60-40 locker room, with 40% not buying into Vrabel this year. And so I feel like he felt he was losing the team and, like, didn't know how to stop it. It was just a boulder rolling downhill and he couldn't get no traction to stop it.
Yeah.
And
I can see that.
Also, the owner, like, if you remember years past, anytime they was in the same room, they had their arms around each other, embracing each other. Like, that, there was memes about them having affairs and everything because they always had their arms around each other. This year, I've never even seen them shake hands this year. And after the Jaguars game, Vrabel stood outside of the locker room, and as everyone came in, including Rand, he gave him a handshake and a hug. And Amy went around him and entered the locker room from behind him to avoid him. Like, they didn't even make eye contact.
Interesting.
So it definitely seems like there was a rift there. And I think part of it is Tim Kelly.
Okay.
The reason why I say that, if you remember, Mike Mularkey got fired. He won a playoff game in 2017. It was their first playoff win since 2003 when Steve McNair was starting for quarterback. And she gave him a 2-year extension, and then 24 hours later, she fired him. And the reason she fired him was because he refused to fire his offensive coordinator because she didn't like the offensive philosophy that he was using. And then Vrabel hangs on to Downing for 2 seasons and ends up costing us a playoff berth last year. And then he promotes his friend, and then we have this season this year. And I think that she might have wanted him to pick someone else and modernize the offense. And he was loyal to his friends and wanted to give Kelly another year.
Interesting. I can see that. Here's the thing that I struggle with. I think how Amy responded to the media regarding Vrabel's firing was very poor.
I do. Yeah, I agree.
It almost came across in a sense as she was bashing him. And personally, if I am some of these coordinators out there, and I've got multiple offers and multiple people calling wanting to interview me, after hearing what an owner is saying about a coach she just fired, that's going to leave a bad taste in my mouth, and that's not necessarily, that may not persuade me to want to go there.
Yeah.
I just feel like I feel like it was very disrespectful. I mean, she can disagree with how Vrabel ran things, and that is totally fine. I definitely would have done things differently as well. But how she handled that, I have zero respect for.
Yeah, the thing that bothered me about the way she handled it was she didn't include Rand in the firing process. Her and Rand both say he had no input, no say whatsoever, which the GM is there to hire and fire players and coaches. And which the reasoning behind that I get, because Rand didn't hire him, so she didn't want to put the burden of being the bad guy on him to fire someone he didn't hire, which is fine, except she then gives a 5-minute interview on a closed set to an in-house reporter where everything's scripted and she doesn't have to answer any hard questions or follow-ups, and then sends him out in front of the media, and he's got to sit there for an hour and try to justify her decision. And to me, she should have been sitting behind that table with him, because she's the one making the decision. She's the one that needs to answer to it.
Oh, I agree with you. That I do agree.
Yeah, and the other thing I don't like about it is the timing. Her justification for not pushing Carter for a trade was that she didn't want to go to the back of the line and getting coaching interviews. But we can't interview coaches for 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
So why not spend another week or 10 days and try to force the Patriots' hands if that's where he's going to end up, and make him give you something for him?
Well, I think that there was so much uncertainty at the time with what was going on with Bill Belichick. Yeah. There was definitely rumors that those rumors came to fruition, and the Bill Belichick and the Patriots ended up parting ways. Yeah, in my opinion, I think she's going to potentially scare away any of the top coaching talents.
Yeah, and the good thing is they've said that Rand has full control over this coaching search, so he's going to pick his guy. He's going to hire him. So Rand's going to have a lot more control over the team now that that Vrabel's out, and the alleged power struggle is gone.
So who do you want? Who is your number one, like, you want the Titans to hire as the head coach?
I'm leaning towards Brian Callen, the offensive coordinator for the Bengals.
Okay.
Brian Callahan.
Okay. Interesting. I've read on some of the Titans pages that we are on that a lot of people are wanting either the offensive coordinators from either the Dolphins, Bengals, or the Texans. And I think the Texans one, Bobby, I think is his name.
Yeah, Bobby.
I think he's basically got a shoe in just because he was in San Francisco with Rand. So they're going to have that relationship, and seeing how the offense has looked this year with him as the offensive coordinator with CJ Stroud, I definitely think that is going to be very appealing to Rand.
Yeah, I agree. It's there's his stats this year: 5th passing offense, 21st rushing, 14th scoring offense. The reason why I shy away from him is it's his first year as a coordinator. So you're going from a rookie coordinator to rookie coach, and he's been proven on the assistance level, but he's not like. Do you trust him not to be a one-hit wonder as a top level coach?
Yeah, fair. True.
And the other thing about Brian Callahan here is he's also works closely with the wide receivers, so you've got a better chance of getting T. Higgins luring him away.
Yeah, I could see that. It's a smart idea. Working smarter, not harder.
Yeah. What do you think about we've announced 9 coaches being brought in, and 4 of them are defensive coaches.
Well, I think we have to do our due diligence. You want to bring in people from a wide variety. We also have to appeal to the Rooney Rule. I don't think the fans want a defensive head coach because we just got rid of one. But I personally would like an offensive one.
Yeah, my thinking is if you want a defensive coach, you just now fired one of the top ones on the market right now.
Yeah.
So there was no point of firing him if you're going to just go get someone just like him.
Yeah, correct. I agree. I mean, and this is my opinion. There's a 6-time Super Bowl winner that just is no longer on his team. He should at least get an interview.
Yeah.
I think the 6 Super Bowls, the 6 Lombardi trophies. I almost said Heisman. The 6 Lombardi trophies, I think speaks for itself.
Yeah, but do you think he will? They're saying that we have no interest in him or in Harbaugh.
And I guess I just don't understand. Like, I get, Bill Belichick has the past couple seasons, he's been really rough. But he did take a rookie quarterback to the playoffs.
Yep.
I just think, he's also, again, defensive coach. And Harbaugh, also defensive coach. But I think, if I remember correctly, a majority of the people that we have requested to interview, they're pretty young for the most part.
Oh, yeah. They all are, except for Dan Quinn and the Lions defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn. I think those are the 2 oldest ones.
I hate to say this, but I don't want Dan Quinn as my head coach. He was kind of a bad coach in Atlanta.
Yeah, he blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, I don't think I would want him. I don't want a defensive coach. Period. Point blank. Period.
Yeah, and he's the 5th with the Cowboys this year, 5th best pass D, 5th best scoring D. So I'll take him as my defensive coordinator all day, but I don't want him having control over the whole team.
Yeah, I want an offensive head coach. We've had a defensive head coach. We literally just had a defensive head coach for 6 years. I'd like a new one. I'd like something different.
You have any opinions on Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator?
No. He's getting a no from me. The reason why is because he wants Bill Belichick money.
That's true. I've heard he's asking for everything.
He's asking for over $15 million, and Bill Belichick, who was the highest paid coach, was making 20.
The one good thing about having a high paid head coach, I'm speaking from college. I don't know if it's the same in the pros or not, but in college, the head coach hires their own coordinators. It comes out of his salary. So the more money you give them, the better their coordinators are going to be, because they'll have more money to give the coordinators.
Huh. Interesting. Didn't know that.
I don't know if that's the same for the pros, though. I don't think it would be. I think that would be the team paying the coordinators.
Probably.
Then who else do we have? The Eagles offensive coordinator. We've given him all of our players. We could go after one of their coaches, Brian Johnson.
I'm pretty sure that's also a rookie offensive coordinator.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's a pretty young guy, too. And the most interesting one to me was Mike McDonald, the Ravens defensive coordinator.
A lot of people were really rooting for him.
Yeah.
You know what's really shocking to me? The Rams defensive coordinator has not been requested to interview.
Yeah.
And he's been there for quite a few years.
Yeah, and also I've not seen any team request Eric Bieniemy to interview this year.
True.
Usually he gets quite a few interviews. He just never gets the job, and everybody always says eventually he's going to get one. This year he hasn't even drawn an interview.
Well, I think it's because he was on a bad team.
Yeah, it's different interviewing you when you're the coordinator for the Chiefs, I guess.
Yes, very much. Very much.
But before we get out of here, I was wanting to get your opinion on one more thing here.
Okay.
You want to share my screen?
Man, I just want to say thank you for the greatest 8 years of my life, the ups and the downs. Y'all been there for everything, through the adversity, watching me grow as a person and a player, always supporting me. I love y'all. I love seeing the 22s in the stadium. Hopefully I was an inspiration to all the young kids and everybody in the community. Just thank y'all so much. And God is good. And tighten up, baby.
So you think that's his final goodbye, or is there still hope that he's back in 2024 to finish his career?
I mean, why would I not want King Henry to come back to the Titans?
Yep. Second in rushing this year. So.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to see him go. That would be a letdown. I mean, that's the team over. That's someone who's been with the team for nearly 10 years. Why would you want to get rid of him? I mean, yeah, like you had a rookie running back who's shown flashes, but like you've got Derrick Henry who's going out there and rushing for 160 yards against the Jacksonville Jaguars and carrying the team on his back.
Yeah, and like I remember Eddie George watching him play for the Cowboys and Chris Johnson playing for the Cardinals, and it never does feel right. More recently, Jarrell Casey going and playing for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah. And that didn't turn out well.
Nah. If he does go, where you think he ends up, or where would you want him to end up?
I think he ends up wherever Mike Vrabel goes.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
You know what I wouldn't be shocked by? Patriots.
Yep. And I don't know, was Ezekiel Elliott's contract more than 1 year?
I think he got a 2-year.
So you could end up with Vrabel as the coach and Henry and Elliott sharing carries in the backfield.
Yeah.
That would give Vrabel his run heavy offense. He wouldn't ever have to pass it as long as he can coach up the defense.
That is true.
But I guess that's going to do it this week. That's all the coaching, all the King Henry news. Maybe over the next couple of weeks, we'll have some more definitive coaching news to come in, and then the real fun starts because what coordinators are going to get fired, who's going to get kept, who's coming in new.
Let's hope all of our coordinators get fired.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing both coordinators. A couple of the underneath guys I'd like to see kept. The defensive line coach, I'd like to see him kept.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we've always got a decent pass rush with Landry and them out there. Then also the quarterback's coach, because by all accounts, he's one of the top 5 or 6 QB coaches in the league. And on top of that, Will Levis, like, give him some kind of continuation from last year to help him keep developing?
Yeah, I would agree with you.
But other than that, where can everyone find you on social media?
You can follow me on Facebook at Tyler Warren or on Instagram at Manning of Steel 18.
All right. And other than that, we'll see everyone next week. Take care, enjoy some mayo, and don't forget to check us out on fanbattlesports.com and on X, Titans Fan Battle Podcast. Facebook, same thing. So we'll see y'all next week.
See you guys.